What it do, YouTube? I'm gonna get going on TikTok here. Hope everyone's having a good Tuesday. The markets, boy, they're volatile. It's a roller coaster ride in the markets between yesterday and today, but that's what we expect. Let me go ahead and get the YouTube chat up here. Let's go ahead. Go live. All right, we're good on TikTok. We're good on YouTube. Dow down about 600 points right now. S&P down 1.25%, about the same for the NASDAQ. The Russell 2K is down about 2.25%, which might be the bigger story here is small caps are struggling. The VIX is up. The VIX has been up. It's been on a trend up since, what, December 2025? We've been seeing just volatility come and come and come, right? I mean, here's the VIX been on a little bit of an uptrend. We got a big pop over the last couple of days here, and it's no surprise that we're whipsawing all over the place in the markets. What up? What up, Ransford? Good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, it's been, hey, it's, if you like volatility, if you like these moves, they've been somewhat capturable, right? I took 2 trades today. I took a short off the open sweep off of VWAP, wrote it down, and then I took a break even on a Bitcoin trade today. It was a similar play. It just didn't move quite like NQ did. So I count break evens as losses, not necessarily from like a dollar standpoint, but it's like that my trade idea didn't play out. So I look at today as 1 loss, 1 win, and then I'm done for the day, right? But boy, we're seeing tensions continue to flare up over in the Middle East right now. Bond yields are climbing, right? Which means what? Well, it can mean a lot of things, but I think today what it means is people aren't comfortable holding the bonds for the yield that is currently paying, so they're dumping them in hopes of higher, right? This morning we saw gold dump. It is still kind of dumping. It had a little bit of a pullback as everything did today on the open, like what? Kind of found a bottom right on open, pumped up a little bit there, but still trending lower here. You know, maybe there's a little trend in there. I got to turn this magnet off. A little bit of a trend going on there. It was the same thing with Bitcoin, same thing with NQ, where they got that initial bounce, that dump, that bounce again, but it's whipsawing all over the place, man. Hello, Ghana. Hello. Up TikTok. Gold even, I mean, again, gold selling off, oil pumping right now. It's the perfect risk off environment at the end of the day. As we're seeing uncertainty from inflation, and we do get inflation data on Friday. That's going to be a big one. So on Friday we get we get jobs data. What, tomorrow we get ADP employment, we get S&P composite PMI, ISM, not tomorrow, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself here, on Thursday. And then on Friday, it's, so Thursday, sorry, so jobless claims. Where's Friday? Non-farm payroll. Actually, I'm ahead. Yeah, March 6th. Swear there was PCE, but maybe I'm wrong. No inflation data. Just NFP, retail sales. That was last week. So I got some data to round out the week here. I'm very happy to be here. You're a great teacher. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You working through the free courses we got? Oil right now holding this wick. I wonder what Brent's at right now. $82. It hit $85 this morning. You guys know the difference between Brent and the light crude? The light crude trades off out of Oklahoma. So it's more of like U.S. supply versus Brent, which is more worldwide supply. What are you guys watching today? I'll tell you this, though. We've been chopping sideways for 6 months on NQ, on ES. Bitcoin's been down. Gold's been pumping. We're seeing the dollar turn around right now. I think if we see the dollar continue to turn up, if we see VIX continue to turn up like it is, if we see yields continue to rise, man, like, could we lose this? Could we lose this 6 months of sideways chop, for sure. I think that the upwards pressure of the dollar is going to put downward pressure on equities at the end of the day. So, I mean, really, I'm watching that kind of 23,900 level on the NASDAQ. Why? I mean, that was the breakout last time, right? It was, resistance, breakout. You even got that back test back in November 25 of that high. I think that's that level to watch right now. For now, you're coming down into kind of a discount area, but I think if things keep heading the way they are, it's going to get Brad. New to trading, what is better, Bollinger, MAC, or VWAP? It's a tough question, man. I don't think there's like better. I think the less you have on your screen, the better. I'll put it to you that way. I use VWAP as like an intraday target or an intraday magnet. But I think better is, you ask 10 people that question, they're going to give you 10 different answers. But I don't use Bollinger. I don't use MACD. I think it's just the less you have, the clearer it becomes, man, at the end of the day. The more crap you throw on a chart, the more you're having internal dialogue with yourself, right? Well, this says that, and that says this, and this says that, and now you're no longer paying a market structure. You're letting indicators lead you. That's just my opinion. I think the cleaner the chart, the better. The only thing I really have on my charts is just the sessions, right? For trading futures and stuff, London, Asia, New York session. That's what these colors are. It's just telling me what session we're in, where the London high is, and then VWAP just says kind of a target. When I go long, when I go short, I'm targeting the next liquidity, right? And VWAP from an intraday trading standpoint is often that next liquidity. So that's what I use it for. And fair value, like, am I trading at a premium or at a discount, right? And if we're way below VWAP and I'm trying to look for a short, I'm no longer like trading well. I'm just chasing price because we're already at a discount away from the fair value, right? The average price paid, right? What is VWAP? It's just the average price weighted the volume at the end of the day. So that's it. That's kind of how I use VWAP. At the end of the day, I think that's the one to really learn and watch, and why, if you're an intraday trader, right? Now, using session VWAP on a daily chart's not going to do nothing for you. But there's weekly VWAPs, there's anchored VWAPs, there's rolling VWAPs, there's lots of other VWAPs you can throw in there too if you're not an intraday trader. If you're not just trying to catch the move of the day. It's what my shorts were off of today. It's sweeping VWAP, closing back inside, trap traders, shorting it down to opposite side liquidity, which was the current week low. All right, I did the same trade on IBIT. It just didn't work out as well. NQ was a lot cleaner today. That's cool, Brandon. That's cool, man. You can have your thoughts. I'll tell you what I am, though. Brandon's a profitable trader. Is that supposed to be a diss, Brandon? Calling me a trend trader? Is that a diss? Because I'm not a trend trader. I trade from and into liquidity. My entry model is SFP, meaning we sweep into liquidity, we close back in, I verified trap traders, and I'm trading towards the other area of liquidity. Is that a diss that I'm a trend trader? That I keep it simple? Is that a diss? That I'm profitable by keeping it simple? All right, brother. All right. That hurts, man. You hurt my feelings, Brandon. You hurt my feelings, man. Brandon, you ever heard oh, that's Brandon, you asshole. I thought it was a different Brandon. Yeah. Brandon caught a good trade today. Brandon killed it today on HIMS. Brandon had one of his best trades ever on HIMS and hers today. Where do you think he got in? What do you think Brandon saw today on the HIMS stock? Swept the weekly high, trap traders, closed back in. Now I'm assuming his target was VWAP, but guess what happened? It went for more. And this was a big trade on HIMS. You got me, Brandon. 8% on HIMS. Freaking TikTok, man. Best trade he's ever taken. He says, yeah, man. I mean, look, SFPs, you know, if you can catch them, they're the best trades. It's the best risk to reward. They're the best entries. And the best trades happen after retail stop losses have been taken and there's trap traders. You know, every big move, just about every big move starts with what? Taking retail stop losses, getting them to pile in long, thinking we're going to go up, absorption into a reclaim of the level, and then boom, this happens every single time on every time frame, right? For this is an intraday trading example of this. I mean, that's that was HIMS, right? It happens on NQ, happens on Bitcoin, right? On any liquid market. I mean, look at these bigger time frame moves. Like what happened here? Boom, right? Look at all that external liquidity that we swept, reclaimed the level, and then boom. Same thing at the top of the market on Bitcoin. And this is just Bitcoin examples. You can look for this anywhere. Swept, dumped, swept, dumped, swept, pumped. There's something here for swing traders, something in there for intraday traders, scalpers. Best moves, man. Best risk to reward. Because why is it the best risk to reward trades? Because your invalidation is so tight, right? So if, for example, let's go back to that HIMS trade here. HIMS. And you know this, Brandon. Why? Why is your invalidation so tight? Because if your idea is we're going to sweep the weekly and reclaim it, where does your stop loss go? Where are you wrong? Where's your invalidation, right? Right above. Right above. If it continues higher off of that reclaim and comes back, boom, you're out. You're out of the trade. So they're the tightest invalidations, right? Where you're wrong is the tightest on those types of trades. So just by default, they had the best risk to reward, right? Just based on that. Do I trade US 30? No, I don't. But look, trading's trading. You know, that's a good question, Ransford. And trading's trading at the end of the day. I mean, we just looked at an example on HIMS and Bitcoin, you know, the same type of trading. I think it's less about the instrument at the end of the day and more about, you know, entry model and strategy, because your strategy you should be able to carry to anything. It's not a good strategy if you don't. If you can't take your strategy and trade it, and I'm not saying everyone needs to trade a bunch of shit, but if you can't take your strategy and trade it on NQ, on IBIT, on, you know, gold, on, you know, whatever stock, then it's not a good strategy at the end of the day. You should be able to transfer it to anything. Orange juice futures, right? Whatever it is at the end of the day. It's a good trade, Brandon. Good trade today, dude. That was killer. Killer trade. Plus trading with the trend. You know, just trend is down. Caught a nice little weekly sweep short. You couldn't ask for a better trade at the end of the day. At the end of the day. SoFi is nearing weekly highs right now. Yeah, I was watching SoFi today. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a level that I have marked out. So it's actually, they put in those highs pre-market, or actually it was post-market yesterday, but I always say they're kind of synonymous, right? When the market wasn't open between sessions, it popped, right? And put in that high. So yeah, watching that kind of $19 level on SoFi. I'm done trading for today, so I'll miss it. I won't take it. But it might be something to look at for tomorrow if we don't take it now and then reclaim it. You know, maybe there's a nice little reversion play there. If it does, maybe I mean, what would that be? 3.7%. What's the NASDAQ doing right now? So NASDAQ's still kind of fighting this high. You know, break it. Well, obviously we're going up, right? Where are we going up to? Maybe the current week high. I mean, this was the aggressive dump yesterday. So we had the pump yesterday. And, you know, my standpoint right now is the rips are not to be chased right now. I think the rips are to be faded until the market kind of proves otherwise, right? I think, and when we saw that yesterday, we've been seeing that, you know, every rip right now is being taken back. We're giving them back. So I think that's kind of the regime that I'm operating in right now, is if I see a rip, I'm thinking, all right, where's it going? Where am I shorting it, right? And I think the only real level above us on NQ and on what, SoFi? SoFi's there, right? SoFi's there. But maybe, you know, if it takes it and runs, maybe at there, nice little swing level. But NASDAQ's just chopping sideways right now. Same with Bitcoin. Obviously, ES is going to be the same. The Russell came back a little bit here. It definitely dumped harder than NQ and ES did today, which, again, I think that's more representative of what's going on with risk right now is the Russell 2000, because it's smaller cap. You know, the Magnificent Seven isn't propping up 40 or 50% of it like it is in the NS and ES and NQ. But a pretty healthy dump today. And then it reclaimed, right? Again, this is it. Look what it did. Took yesterday's low, swept it, reclaimed it. Where do you target? Well, VWAP for starters. It overtook VWAP. Where's your next target? The next liquidity pool, which is right there. And that's where we're at right now. I think if we don't, obviously, you know, if we reclaim it, there's probably a short in there, at least down to VWAP. But if we continue higher, maybe it's up there at like 2660, something like that. Will not retest on that fair value gap. I don't remember what we were looking at. You talking about down here? Maybe. I don't trade fair value gaps. I just look at them as fast up, fast down. They're not part of my strategy. Not saying that you shouldn't. You know, if it works for you, great. It's just not how I trade. I get in before the fair value gaps are even formed, right? They are not a part of my strategy. And if they're part of yours and they work, awesome. I look at it like, look, if we move up quick, I just keep it so simple. You're going to move down quick, right? So I'm looking to get in higher and then ride that gap if we crash through it, right? I'm not looking at it as, okay, we're going to pull back into here and then I'm going to go long. I'm using them as like targets, more or less, than like entries. But possible, man. It's definitely possible. We definitely, you know, definitely have gone up quick from sweeping that low on Russell, on NASDAQ, right? I mean, there's boom, boom, big old gap there for sure. And even before, I mean, it's like, it's just been up and down quick, right? Down quick, up quick. That's what I'm looking at. That's how I use. I mean, what's a fair value gap at the end of the day, right? Inefficient price movement. You know, a volume gap. Look at that. We moved down quick and we moved up quick. So here's how I use fair value gaps, right? So if you rewind time and we pretend like this never happened, this green never happened over here, here was your gap. And we went up just as quickly as we went down. But I got in here, right? I got in down here, trap traders, reclaiming the level, shoot it up quick. And it could be the same thing on the way down. So I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if we reclaim this high, breakout traders are piling in, we come back below them, we are trapping them, we now have fuel to move down. So if we come into this, we could also just go down just as quick again. That's how I kind of use them. What up, Dale? Good to see you, brother. Been a minute, Dale. See you popping in here every once in a while. Hope everything's good with you, man. So cool. Oil still hanging on. Tell you, my main, I mean, this is what I watch on a daily basis to kind of get my macro narrative. As long as oil keeps pumping, man, as long as the dollar keeps pumping and VIX going up, I think it's no bueno for the markets at the end of the day. What else? What else? NVIDIA. Anyone want to look at anything in particular? Feel free to drop it in the chat. I haven't been trading a whole lot of gold. Usually I do. It's just a little weird right now. Very volatile, right? Very, very volatile on gold. These moves are pretty big. I haven't been trading gold though. No, I mean, I do trade gold, just not as much lately. Had a few SoFi trades last week, couple NQ trades, couple of Bitcoin trades, couple of AMD trades. Today it was NQ and Bitcoin, or IBIT for me today. But no, I've been staying away from gold. I don't know, gold's scary to me right now. We did have one guy take a gold trade today. Donkey, the guy who runs the channel with me, he took a gold trade today. But I mean, she's a pumping again. I mean, so here's the thing. Does this get bought up now, right? Why is gold dumping today? So that's what I was going to ask. You took the question out of my hand, Official Gaming. So why is gold dropping so hard right now? Does anyone in chat know? Does anyone in chat know? Take a guess. Why do we think gold is dumping so hard? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the dollar. The rectangles are AMD. If so, what indicators do you use? You mean these? These here? No, those are just sessions. So this is London session, the blue. I'm colorblind, so if these colors aren't right, don't yell at me. Green is New York session. That's all that means. Just sessions. They're not indicators. It's not like a traditional indicator. Now the dollar's going up. The dollar's, yeah, it definitely has to do with the bombs, for sure. You know, it's just uncertainty in the markets. So it has to do with the dollar at the end of the day. So when the dollar rises, it puts pressure on everything, including gold, and they typically come down. So there's, I don't think theory is the right word, but there's, you know, there's a very good argument to be made that the only reason, not the only reason, but a big portion of the reason that NASDAQ has been chopping sideways for 6 months and S&P 500 as opposed to dumping is because the dollar has been doing this, dropping and dropping, right? So when the dollar drops, it puts upward pressure on equities, right? And really everything else, crypto, Bitcoin, any risk asset, right? So we're starting to see today, and really since what, January 26th, January of this year, because this is a weekly chart, we're starting to see the dollar creep back up. So that's got people a little nervous, right? So when the dollar goes up, everything else traditionally, you know, the markets aren't binary. It's not black and white, but comes down. But yeah, why is the dollar going up? Uncertainty in the world, man. I mean, we're seeing oil fields being bombed in the Middle East, drones being flown into, you know, Dubai, and ships not going through the Strait of Hormuz, and oil's pumping. You know, inflation is sticky again. So all of this is happening out the back of hot inflation report that we got last Friday too. So on Friday, we got hot inflation. It's like the hottest inflation report I've seen in a long time. Plus what happened that night, right? What we're seeing play out in the news right now. So it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Plus, if oil continues to rise, if there's going to be supply issues with oil, what does that do to inflation? If oil rises, what else rises? Everything is based off of oil, right? From all the truckers on the road that have to put diesel fuel in their trucks, to your wife's makeup, to certain foods that you eat, oil's in it, right? It's in everything, clothes, the carpet you walk on in your house. So it puts pressure on everything. It lifts everything. What is Hakeem Works silver? Oh, what is happening with silver? Well, let's take a look at silver. My guess is the same thing is happening with silver that is happening with gold, right? But let's take a look. I haven't looked at silver today. So it's dumping, right? So it's dumping for the same reason gold is dumping today, because the dollar appears to be showing strength. And when the dollar shows strength, guess what happens? Everything else pulls back as a result, including silver, including gold. But on top of that, that's not the only story to be told right now. We're seeing overall, right, the 10-year treasury yield and yields in general rise. Why right now is it rising? Well, my guess is it's because people they don't want to hold yields when they pay 3% or 4%. They want higher yields in order to hold treasuries and debt again. That's why we're seeing yields rise, because people are selling the bonds, right? They're selling the bonds because why? Because of all the uncertainty. So it's like everything's tied to that dollar, man, right now. Everything's tied to that dollar going up or going down right now. And it's heading in the direction, if you're a bull, that you don't want it to be headed in. I think real decisions get made at that $100 level for the dollar. I wouldn't be surprised if we test that level here over the next, week or so. I think over $1, man, you're gonna see some real damage. I really do. I think if we get over $1 again, I think we lose the bottom in NQ, man. I do, and I'm not saying right away, but think about this. We have been building sideways since September of 2025. The markets have been flat, right? And I'm not saying there hasn't been little daily swings up and down. I'm saying the overall since September of 2025 is sideways. So if we go up or down, I think it's going to be violent, man. I think it's going to be violent up or down. I'm not saying it's, recession or anything like that. I just think the initial move is going to be pretty violent right off the bat. I've been buying the mining stocks of gold and silver for a few months, years. What do you think of those? Cost of production is the same, but since gold is ripping, I see them up too. Yeah, man, if you've been buying that for years, you're probably in good shape, right? So if you've been buying gold and mining stocks for years, as you said, you probably got a pretty good cost basis on those. So you're probably not too worried right now, but it depends on the stock, right? So like, I don't know, give me one, Critical Metals Group, Critical Metals Corp, right? Like this is what most or better these minor stocks look like, right? Is they've just been up and up and up and up and up. But everything's high. It's at $5,000. So we need gold to keep rising. You need silver to keep rising. Uranium, copper, aluminum. You need all that shit to keep rising for these companies to keep rising too, because they're just going to be following that at the end of the day. But if you have some CMC, yeah. CMC, Commercial Metals Company. So look, here's a good one, right? Like if you've been buying for the last couple of years, here's my guess. And I don't know if this is the case, but maybe you got in here, something like that, right? So you're probably in the profit on something. So I think you're probably in good shape until you start changing structure, right? Right now, the bulls are still in control. As long as the bulls are still in control, you can keep holding, right? But you do have an auction here where we auction sideways. So from October of 2022 to December of 2025, right? If we get accepted back into this auction, I think you take profits. Not financial advice. You do you at the end of the day, but just, like here's the breakout. It wouldn't surprise me if we got a back test and then a decision will be made at that kind of $63, $64 level again. And then if we get accepted lower, I'd probably be looking for shorts as opposed to like doubling down. I'd probably just take, if I was in the profit, I would take profits. All right, you can always get back in lower, but usually when it's top of the range and we had a failed auction, it's bottom of the range when you get acceptance back into that auction. More often than not, go test it in any stock and draw out the auctions, right? And that's all this is at the end of the day. Just price auctioning, auction higher. Now, are we going to get accepted? Right? Are we going to get a back test? Boom, boom, and run again and attack that high at 84, 85 bucks? I think it all comes down to that high at like 64.50 at the end of the day. And maybe it doesn't even go there. Maybe this is it, right? Maybe it finds a little support here because it has a little bit in the past right here. You can kind of see it where it's sideways. It got to bounce off of there. So if we start creeping up and attacking those highs again, you're in good shape again on that one. So I don't think you have much to be worried about right now. Right? That can change quickly. Someone wanted SPY on TikTok for Alex. Let's look at SPY. We were talking about like 0-day options. You talking leaps? Yeah, I'll check out the Nifty 50, Randy. Oh, and actually, I'll check out the US 32 for Ransford. For options. Oh, for the next day. Okay, so like a 0-day hold, right? So here's how I'd be trading this. I would look at what's been happening. So first of all, I would mark out the weekly low. Boom. I would mark out the weekly high. Boom. That's where decisions are going to be made this week. Boom, boom, right? Higher time frame decisions. Then I would go down into the daily. And I would probably, today is still being marked out, but we're reclaiming yesterday's low, which is good. So as long as that holds, like if we close here and futures don't just dump overnight off of like bombs again, like they did last night, you got a good chance at going after that weekly high, at that weekly high here. Maybe even coming up to last week's high, which is at $694 right here. So I think you're seeing a little bit of strength here on SPY on the daily chart. I mean, the markets, you know, have come back a little bit. I still think it's going to be incredibly volatile. So I think your targets need to be a little bit closer. You need to be in positions, in and out of positions a little bit quicker. Take your profits when you're in profits right now. That's just the regime that we're in with all this uncertainty. One news piece can rattle the markets right now, right? One little thing can rattle the markets right now. And that's why the VIX is going up so high, right? Because it's volatile. It's just volatile. Let me go back to SPY. So I think you watch those at the end of the day, the weekly low, the weekly high. You know, we're getting back underneath that low at 678 from yesterday. I think we could gap up pretty quick here, maybe close it out, but I would be looking for shorts, not longs right now. If that means I miss a little bit of a long, so be it for the short. So if I'm looking to short, boom, 688.72 or 693. And then I would have an idea, right? So you have a level. A level is where the market's going to make a decision. So how I trade is I want to see us sweep it and reclaim it and then short it down, right? I want to see us sweep it, reclaim it, and short it down, right? That doesn't mean we don't close this gap and go up to those highs. I just think shorts are higher probability right now, just with everything going on. I think just if trading's 50-50 a coin flip, I think you can weigh that short side down a little bit harder right now. It's probably coming up heads 70-30, 60-40, because just they're being sold off. The rips are being sold off right now. And that's what happened on NQ today, by the way, right? So swept the, you know, these weekly levels are so important. Swept the weekly low, got a pop. You know, yesterday, swept the previous week's high, got a big old dump. If you were going to only mark out two levels on your chart and trade successfully, it'd be the weekly, that's something else, guys. That's something else. Weekly high and current week low. And then you can filter less. Daily high, daily low. VWAP. That's the trade I took today, was just sweeping VWAP and short. Little trade in and out, done. So I think if you're looking for entries tomorrow, watch those weekly highs, weekly lows. So it was US 100 US 30, sorry. The Dow, right? So let's just look at the futures. So YM1 exclamation point for Dow here. I mean, it was the same thing on the Dow. Look, swept the weekly low, reclaimed it, pumped, right? So now what are we doing? Well, I'd be looking for a short reclaiming 48,318. So if we don't go higher, right? So if this thing like kind of simmers down into this evening and reclaim that 48.31, I'd be looking for a short, maybe down to VWAP, maybe down to the lows, but I'd have this be my first target, maybe a second target, maybe a TP1, TP2, leave a little on in case it runs, right? But if we continue higher, right, where can I screw over the most traders as a market maker? Where can I collect stop losses like Thanos collects rings at the end of the day? Here, right? What it's doing right now, tricking breakout traders into thinking we're going up. And if it goes up, big deal. I don't care. There's no trade for me. Then I'm looking at the next area, right there, 49,120 for a short into tomorrow or today. I mean, this thing ticks overnight, right? So that's kind of what I think there. Now, obviously tomorrow, this becomes a target, right? Because that's the new weekly low. That's the new weekly low. And this is what we do all week. Just Take the high, dump. Take the low, go, right? Especially in the type of environment we're in, where you don't chase breakouts right now. If anything, you're fading the extremes and you're reversion trading, right? That's just the environment we're in right now. And have been in, by the way, for 6 months. How do I know that? Because we've been chopping sideways for 6 months. We have not been breaking, right? We've just been chopping sideways 6 months, right? Across everything. Do I personally think silver will drop back down to 70 or say sideways? Think it'll go back up soon? I also missed something else. Someone else asked me, I think it was Randy, he asked me to do something. Type it in again. You did ask for something, but the chats, every time someone joins, it just scrolls away and I miss it. Let's look at silver again, and I'll give you some. So here, as a trader, I don't think in terms of will it do this or will it do that. I think in terms of probabilities, right? Because that's trading. Trading is probabilistic. There is no certainty in trading. And so I'll tell you this. So your question was, do we see 70s again? Well, I'll tell you this. If we don't reclaim 90 bucks again, yeah, because what did we do? At the end of the day, what did we do? So here was a little bit of resistance, the breakthrough, the dump, the back test, right? And then we had liquidity sitting up here, retail stop losses sitting up here. We swept it and reclaimed the range. I think there's a pretty good chance we could see $70 silver again. But here's the thing. What happens if you lose $70? You know, it's a lonely wick down here at 63.90. We could see that again, right? Like there's unfinished business down there. Do we come back for it? Do we sweep that, then reclaim, and then work our way up again? So I think right now it's down until we reclaim 9207, right? Because probabilities say when you take higher time frame liquidity like we did here, you go down until you what? Find higher time frame liquidity again. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's at that $71 level. Maybe it's down here at that $63 level. So I think it's down till it's not. I think whoever caught these shorts right here, you're sitting pretty right now until we find like an even amount of liquidity lower. And again, maybe it's 71, maybe it's 65. Somebody got filled here. Who got filled here? The big players in the market. Me and you don't make the price do this. All right, that's engineered by design. Take retail stop losses, trick breakout traders into going long, reclaim the level, and now you got fuel to push price lower. Over and over and over again. So yeah, I think there's a good chance. Could I check out the Nifty 50? Let's look at the Nifty 50. You guys smash that thumbs up, subscribe, turn notifications, help the algo out. Tap that heart a few times on the screen. I appreciate you guys. Looking at the Nifty 50. I mean, look where it bounced today. Boom. So you don't want to lose that level. You don't want to lose 24.6 on the Nifty 50. Again, so let me zoom out a little bit here. What's this? Since May of 2025, sideways, out of a downtrend. You know, you have an auction here. So I think, look, let's keep this super simple, right? So as long as 24.8 holds ish, right? I mean, you know, could it come a little bit lower down to this 24.4, 24.3? Sure. Right. But I think as long as this holds, you are inside of this auction, right? You're inside this auction. You're inside this auction. So that means you look for longs when it's down here and you take your damn profits, or short when it's up here. But when do things potentially get ugly or better, right? So notice how I talk in if this, then that statements and scenarios, because as traders, we have to think in probabilities. So if I was looking for a short down here, I would think in terms of if we get acceptance back below this 24,400 area, right? Then I'm looking to short it down to where? Probably down to here. Does that mean I don't move my stop loss and manage the trade? No, of course not, right? But I think that'd be my ultimate target. Look how quickly we moved up and down through this area. It happens quickly, right? Here, up quickly, down quickly, up quickly. So if, right? So here's the idea. If Nifty 50 gets accepted below 24,328, right? If we get acceptance below, maybe order flow confirms it, short it down. But for now, that's not happening. So the theory here might be if this 24.4 holds, right? You target the top of the range again. Stop loss goes back below because where are you wrong? If we get acceptance back below. So I think really at the end of the day, the big three are those levels. Those are your important decision areas on the Nifty 50. This is where decisions are going to be made. Here, here, here. Tight and easy invalidations for acceptance lower. Easy invalidations for if you take a short off of this trend line here. But that's it. I think it's those three levels. This is your decision points on the Nifty 50. Can you check for Sensex, please? Thank you. My name is Ghost. I stack physical and this dump makes me disappointed. I bought so high. Just use it as a learning experience, man. Just use it as a learning experience. And if you don't know the markets, if you want help, we ain't course sellers here, but I have a bunch of free courses for you. If you really want to learn with no bullshit, no overcomplicated nonsense, you don't have to memorize a bunch of words, just straight, easy. TacticalEdgeTraders.com, links in bio, 100% free. This is my system, how it works. And if you even want to come trade with us in Discord, we do it every morning. Free trainings every Sunday for everybody. Free, right? Not pushing links, not selling courses, just having fun at the end of the day. If you need a little extra help, if some of the words I'm saying don't make sense to you, it's all right. They can and they will. It's not that hard. Can you make a living out of this? Most people don't. Some people do. Most don't, though. What else? Vast majority of people don't. And it's not because of this. It's not because of everything that I'm doing here, because this shit's easy. You'll get this in a few months or quicker. Most people get it quicker. It's this. It's the psychology. It's the not being able to do anything. It's the sitting on your hands when you're edging your strategy isn't in the markets. That's the harder part. It's not this. This stuff's easy, man. Like, where are the decisions going to be made in the market? The harder part is waiting. Right? Is waiting for price to get to your level and not chasing a green candle or a red candle. Doing nothing is the hardest part, but it's also the most important part of trading, and most people just can't do that. At the end of the day. Sensex. Let's look at Sensex for Randy. Thank you, Gold Run. Appreciate you, brother. Looks the exact same as the Nifty 50. You know why? It's the exact same. It's just what we covered, right? Boom. Same thing we just talked about in the Nifty 50. I'll tell you, here's some good news is, what did we do? We swept all the lows, right? From May of 2025. We swept it and reclaimed it. Now, if this were me, right, and I was trading this, I would think to myself, well, we're probably going to go up, right? So I would have probably taken a long, put my stop loss below invalidation, because if it comes back below here, we're wrong. And, you know, where's your first target? Well, I'd probably say maybe this gap, you know, second target maybe up here at 83.9, ultimate target 85. And then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And guess what? I lose 1%. Small losses, small wins, big wins. That's the formula. You're going to lose. You're going to be wrong. That's part of trading. Accept it. And when you're wrong, you don't lose very much money at the end of the day. I like that it swept it, right? And then reclaimed it at the end of the day. But if this thing does turn around, if you do start seeing us transacting here a little bit more than just a quick down and a quick up, could spell a little bit of trouble, right? Could spell a little bit of trouble here to where it's been, again, quick down, quick up, quick down, quick up. It gets very, very fast down below on this one. How do I start this, man? A demo account on some broker. I mean, 30K starting from 10, but I'm positive that it's beginner's luck. That's the scary part. Beginner's luck, man. I've been there, dude. I had beginners. Everyone has beginner's luck. Not everyone, right? Some people have beginner's unluck, but that's good, man. Start small. That's the thing. You don't have to start big. When you add real money, it changes the psychology of the markets. When you're trading fake money, man, or like not your normal size, you know, you can play fast and loose, you take extra chances, but when there's real money on the line, it's completely different, right? So just start small and then earn the right to increase size. Earn the right to increase size. Don't just like go from, and I think you're thinking right, Alexander Stankinovich. You're thinking right? You know the trap. Okay, I've had some luck with paper trading. But the psychology changes when you add actual money into it. So you don't have to add so much money in or trade so much money to where it hurts when you lose at the end of the day. Earn the right to increase incrementally. Prove to yourself that your system works and that your psychology is on point at the end of the day. Adam, if they can, anything can happen, dude. People can win the lottery, Adam. Adam asks, hey, just wondering, can day traders see profit in their first or second month? Sure, dude, anything can happen, but being consistent is the hardest part. Consistency is the harder part, right? Not getting lucky, not having some beginner's luck. You know, it's consistent profits. And most people day trading do not pull consistent profits from the market. And I'm not making this up. The brokers give this data out, right? How many day traders end up profitable? 1 to 10%, right? So the vast majority, roughly 70 to 97%, either lose money or break even, often quitting within the first year due to high risks and lack of experience. So knowing that the odds are stacked against you statistically, right? Like, don't use a bunch of money. If you're going to learn this, like, there's people who successfully do this, right? There is, but it doesn't mean you throw a bunch of money at it and you throw a bunch of darts at the wall. Like, just chase process. Don't chase P&L. Don't chase money. Chase the process, right? Because if you chase the process, then guess what's going to come? The money, right? Less is more in trading. I'll tell you that too at the end of the day. What chart are you looking at? It's just the S&P 500 Sensex index for someone in chat here. So I found some candles or charts. I write them down on paper. What does it mean to them so I can learn? It's a good way to start trading. Hit those courses in our link, man. They're free. Start there, right? Build your foundation and then work off that foundation is what I would say. I've been watching so many videos. They all say they quit before they even make money since they do it. A lot of people quit before they become profitable because a lot of people just throw too much money at it. So then they think that this isn't for them. Like, start small. You don't need to start huge. You shouldn't. Brenda, MNQ. What do you want to know about MMQ, Brenda? Entries for tomorrow. The bigger picture is obvious. Sideways. So, you know, you lose the lows down here. You're coming down. You know, it's just, we're chopping sideways. You know, it looks like if I had to bet on Polymarket right now, I'd bet this is going to break down, not up. I think we flush before we go higher, just with everything going on. If you're looking at what should I do for entries tomorrow, well, it's the same thing I did today and I do every single morning. There's the weekly high, there's the weekly low, there's last week's high. Those are my main targets. Sweep, reclaim long, sweep, reclaim short, sweep, reclaim short. Right? You want to go even more dialed in? The daily highs and lows match the weeklies. So there's a little bit more confluence to those levels. Where are the stops this week living? Here. The best trades happen after retail stop losses have been taken and trap traders. So I'd be looking at this for an entry tomorrow, at this for an entry tomorrow, and at this for an entry tomorrow. Now, that doesn't mean that these session levels don't come into play. What happens tonight with Asia? What happens tonight with London? I'd probably mark those out tomorrow too. And this is what my chart looked like this morning. Right? What was the best trade of today? We swept the weekly low, and then NQ popped, right? We swept London and dumped. There was a trade in there for that as well. So that's what I'd be looking at for tomorrow. I'd look at the current week high, low, last week's high, and then, you know, if you wake up in the morning and trade New York, I'd watch what happens with London and Asia overnight. Where do I think we're going right now? Well, again, if we don't reclaim this 24,660 anytime soon, it's probably the current week high again. This is what we do, right? Just keep sweeping, keep sweeping, keep sweeping, because that's the type of market we're in right now. How much money should I invest? For you're asking binary questions, man. $0. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, Alexander, but if you have to ask how much money you should invest, then the answer is zero. The answer is zero until you can answer that question for yourself. You can paper trade, you can keep paper trading, but keep learning. Don't chase the money right now. Chase the knowledge in the process, because that's gonna, if you can do that, then the money's gonna come, right? Otherwise, you're gonna lose that $500, because the statistics say that most retail traders lose money in these markets. A lot of you guys are asking very beginner questions, and that's good. That's good. You should understand these financial markets. We have free courses. I don't charge for them. TacticalEdgeTraders.com, links in all of our bios. Sign up for free. They're right here. You can click into them. Psychology, order flow, you know, trading basics, psychology of money, liquidity basics, acceptance and rejection, mind over markets, you know, talking about journaling, risk management, how much money should you, risk per trade. And, I'm starting to work on this next one, which is what levels matter, right? What levels matter? How do you plan trades? How do we think in probabilities instead of certainty? It's all free. It's all free. TacticalEdgeTraders.com, guys. Go sign up. Go sign up. Come learn the rich man's game a little bit. And focus on the process, not the money, and you'll do good. And I say that in the very first video series. I said, if you're here to focus on making a bunch of money at the beginning, you're going to lose a whole bunch of money. But if you're going to focus on the process and really figure this out, then there's a chance. You have a higher chance, right? You're upping your probabilities of being a profitable trader if you can just focus on process and not the outcome at the beginning. From India. What up, India? I don't know if I'm able to say this. Puducherry? Is that right? How long did it take you? It took me two and a half years, and I've lost so much money because I did everything I'm telling you guys not to do. Everything I'm saying not to do, it's because I've done it. I got very, very lucky. I got very, very lucky at the beginning and made a shitload of money and then lost it all. And then put more money into an account and then blew that one up, and then put a bunch of more money into an account and blew that one up. I thought I knew better. I thought I didn't have to listen to people who were told me about psychology and planning and showing up an hour before the market opens and all the same stuff that I'm saying. I thought I knew better. My ego was huge, right? Because I got lucky and I lost it all. I lost it all again and lost it all again. It took me 2.5 years to become profitable. And it takes as long as it's going to take. We have a guy, Bobby, in our Discord who didn't even know how to turn on a computer 3 months ago. And he's a green trader. He's a profitable trader. But that's not everyone's journey. Everyone's journey is different. I think you can become profitable not knowing nothing if you do the right things and you focus on the right things quicker than someone who's been doing this for 6 years, chasing systems, chasing strategies, thinking the indicators make all the difference. I think the people who know nothing are easier to train. And I know that from training traders, right? Bobby, for example, he just listened, right? He can just execute like a machine because he didn't learn or bring in a bunch of habits. Versus someone who's been struggling for 2 years, who has a bunch of habits, it's harder to break those habits as opposed to someone who just doesn't have any. So you can just build those good habits right out of the gate. So I don't know, take that for what it's worth. No, don't put any big money at the beginning. If you don't know how to trade, it should be zero money. Paper trading. Trading because paper trading. You can do fake trading. And then it's a little bit of money, right? And then prove to yourself that you can win. And then it's a little bit more money you put in there. And then you do it again, right? Here's a part that no one likes to hear. And I say this in all my free trainings on tacticaledgetraders.com. Like, this is the part no one wants to hear. You have to execute the same exact way, the same exact levels, the same exact entry model, the same exact strategy hundreds of times, right? It's easy for me to tell you, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to mark out the weekly high, the weekly low. When we sweep it and reclaim it, and you can verify that there's trapped traders in there, to hit long. 10 minutes. I can explain to you an entry model in 10 minutes. The harder part's the context, the psychology, the weighting. Is it even worth holding longs today? Is it even worth holding shorts today? That's the tougher part, man. That's the part that trips everyone up. This shit that you're staring at on my screen, this is easy, right? This isn't easy. I've taught my kids how to read charts. It's not hard. The harder part is everything else. And that's the part that nobody focuses on at the end of the day. Less is more, bros, says J-Meg, 100% J-Meg. Less is more, bros, at the end of the day. Few good trades a week is all I need. That's it. Some weeks I don't get that. But less is more, 100%. I give myself one bullet a day to fire off into the markets. That's it, man. Too many people are addicted to trading. Just like people are addicted to pushing that button on the slot machine or hitting on, like, 19 or 20 because maybe an ace will turn up and they'll hit 21. Ain't how trading works, man. It's not. That's how you lose at the end of the day. It is a hospital. 100%. Smash that thumbs up, subscribe, turn notifications, guys. I think I'm gonna get out of here though. I've been at the computer since 7:30 this morning. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. We go live every day. Me or Eddie go live. Weekly free trainings in Discord. Again, free courses. We don't charge, not course pushers or sellers here. TacticalEdgeTraders.com. Links in all of our bios, guys. Check it out. Sign up. And hop in Discord. Come hang out. Come listen. Come listen to all of our trainings. But we will be live tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Saturday's off. But y'all be safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one.